again. Not again. Which one should I use? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another cage match with cats here on Live That Adventure. If it's your first time here, my name is Dustin. And fun fact about me, I like to ride my bike. But nothing will bring a bike ride to an abrupt end much faster than a flat tire, especially around here because we have those little bullhead thorns. I hate those things. And whether you're running a tubeless tire or a tire that still has a tube in it, one thing that you're gonna need to not do the walk of shame all the way back home is some air. And that's why we have two gladiators here today ready to duke it out in the pumping up the tire department. Let's meet them. Fighting out of the red corner from Planet Bikes, we have the Red Zeppelin. Fighting out of the blue corner, we have the Flextail Tiny Bike Pump Pro. Let's get it on. I'm going to start off by saying that both of these pumps really are awesome. You cannot go wrong either way, but they both do have their strengths and weaknesses, and in this video, we're going to point them both out. I will say in full transparency, I did buy the Red Zeppelin with my own money, but Flextail did send the Tiny Bike Pump Pro to us for this video, but there were no stipulations that I only had to say nice things about it, so I'm going to call it like it is with both pumps. For round one, we have price. That is a very important thing to consider when you're buying your gear. The Red Zeppelin costs $13, which is insanely cheap, while the Tiny Bike Pump Pro will run you $75.99. Well, a little bit less if you use coupon code LTA15 in checkout. Just a thought. But the nice thing about the Tiny Bike Pump Pro is that once you buy it, you are done spending your money until you either lose it or break it or, it flies off a cliff or something. The Red Zeppelin, on the other hand, does require CO2 cartridges. I did find a pack of CO2 cartridges on Amazon for about 30 bucks, so that still brings you to about $40, $45, which is still cheaper than the Tiny Bike Pump Pro. But if you are a clumsy person or you just like to run over bullhead thorns for some reason like me, that could end up being 2 packs of CO2 cartridges, which will put you at roughly about the same price as this pump. But fair is fair, and this pump is cheaper, so we're going to give this round to the Red Zeppelin. Round 2 is environmental friendliness. We always try our best to take care of the planet that we are riding our bikes on, so let's break down these two pumps. The Red Zeppelin is made with rugged, precision machine metal and designed to last 4 years. The CO2 cartridges are steel and recyclable, and the inflator heads are durable and repairable. The cartridges are better than plastic waste, but still require continual manufacturing and proper cartridge recycling to minimize environmental impact. As for the Tiny Bike Pump Pro, it is fully reusable. One unit inflates 4 tires per charge and lasts hundreds of cycles. Its battery is rechargeable via USB-C, eliminating single-use waste. Small lithium-ion batteries last 200 plus charges. On the other hand, it contains lithium-ion batteries and electronics. Manufacturing these components has environmental costs and eventual e-waste considerations. It also requires energy from electricity to recharge, though the carbon footprint depends on your energy source. And it has a finite lifespan, the battery capacity degrades over time. With all things considered, I do need to give this round to Flextail, even though it was a well-fought battle. The Tiny Bike Pump Pro is a little bit on the heavy side. It weighs 130 grams or 4.59 ounces. The Red Zeppelin, on the other hand, can go a couple different ways, coming in anywhere from 116 grams or 4.9 ounces, all the way to 151 grams or 5.33 ounces, depending on which CO2 cartridge you are using. Usually when I bring out the Red Zeppelin on a bike ride, I bring at least 2 CO2 cartridges, and that can balloon the weight all the way up to 176 grams or 6.21 ounces. With this in mind, I have to give the round to the Tiny Bike Pump Pro. Round 4 is speed, and this is an easy win for the Red Zeppelin. It pretty much just dumps all of the air into the tire. The Flextail is still quite fast, but nowhere near as fast as this guy, so big point for Red Zeppelin. Round 5 is build quality, and these two pumps are in almost completely different universes. The Red Zeppelin is basically just a valve. It's a very simple device. while the Tiny Bike Pump Pro is a little bit more refined. It has a nice little LCD screen on it that lets you pump your tires up to a very specific pressure. With that in mind, this round goes to the Tiny Bike Pump Pro. The next category is weatherproofing. The red Zeppelin is not going to care at all if you are riding in inclement weather. I mean, it could get maybe rusty if you leave it in a bucket of water, but a little bit of rain is not going to bug this guy at all. The Tiny Bike Pump Pro, on the other hand, is not waterproof. So if you're going to be out in bad weather, you need to either put it in the little plastic bag that comes with it or come up with some sort of a dry bag for it. With that in mind, this round, red Zeppelin. The next category for these two is noise. I realize that's probably not much of a concern for everybody, but I like to consider all things. The red Zeppelin is nice and quiet unless you accidentally unscrew the bottle once it's punctured and it just dumps all the air out. Then it can get a little bit loud, but other than that, it's just a quiet little whisper as it dumps the air into the tire. This guy, on the other hand, puts out some volume. I put it on my decibel meter and it puts out about 78 decibels, which is about the same as a vacuum cleaner or a garbage disposal. In fact, the first time I started it up, the cats were around and they took off running. This thing scared the heck out of them. So when it comes to noise, red Zeppelin wins the point. Round 7 is PSI accuracy, and this is an easy win for the Flextail. It is so easy using these little side buttons to dial in the exact PSI that you're looking for, and then boom, you're good to go. The red Zeppelin, obviously there is no way to control it. So you can always bring a tire gauge and kind of go back and forth between the tire gauge and the pump, but not only is that wasting time and adding more weight to your pack, but you only have this much air, so, you can't be dilly-dallying around too much. With that in mind, easy win. Round 8 is reliability, and I know I've said it 10 million times, but this thing is so simple. Like, aside from ripping the knob off the top or smashing it somehow in a crash, I don't know how you can hurt this thing. This does have a lot more moving parts, but it's also really well built. And you would probably have to crash pretty hard to break this pump. So with that in mind, I have to say this round, it's a tie. Round 9 is compatibility. Both pumps can inflate Presta and Schrader valves. The red Zeppelin does not need an adapter, while the Flextail does, but it all comes in the kit. The Flextail also comes with this little pin type of valve to fill basketballs and whatever else you can fill up with one of these. And it also has this hose on the front that is detachable. You don't need to have it on there to fill up your tires, but it is nice for tires that have a valve stem that's in a hard to reach spot. So with that in mind, Flextail gets the point. The next category is overall value, and I think that it would seem like it would be a very easy win for the red Zeppelin. However, there's something about the Flextail. I really think it's something about being able to pump up to a specific pressure. I think that would be a big deal to a lot of people. So, Flextail wins the round. The next round is the accidental release of air, and these two pumps have a very different outcome. With the red Zeppelin, if the knob gets twisted just a little bit, you might have a slow, quiet leak to where you won't know what happened until you need it, and then there's no air there. Or it's going to all dump out at once, and that could be a big problem. The only way I think you could fix it is if you keep the inflator and the CO2 cartridges separate, but then you have multiple things rolling around in your bag and it would be kind of annoying. As mentioned during the volume category, the Flextail is very loud. So if this somehow turned on in your bag, you're probably gonna know it. You can just pull over, turn it off, and fix the problem really quickly. With that in mind, Flextail wins the round. Round 13 is design flaws. And as I mentioned in the last round, this guy might be slightly easy to dump out all of the air, and if that's the case, you don't have any air to put in your tire. That's really the only thing that I could think about with this guy because it's painfully simple. There's not really much to be wrong with it. So that's the flaw in this guy. As for the Flextail, the only flaw that I could really come up with is that for some reason after inflating the tire, the valve stem gets pretty hot. I'm not talking like third-degree burns, but definitely hot to the touch. The easy fix for that is you could either let your valve stem cool off, or you can bring like a little lens wipe or something to put over the valve stem while you tighten it back on. Either way, it's not really that big of a deal, but sometimes you have to reach when you're working with things that are both pretty awesome. Even though the valve stems may give you just a little bit of a burn, at least my tire is going to be full, so Flextail wins this round. With all things considered, I am going to give the overall win to the Flextail. There is no shame to the red Zeppelin though. I mean, it's tried and true. A lot of people use it, and it is a fantastic little unit. But the pros just outweigh the cons for the Flextail pump, and I really enjoy using it. As I mentioned about 30,000 times now, the red Zeppelin is so simple that we don't really need to get into the features of it. But the Flextail does have a little bit more involved, so let's get into some of its features. Let's start off by going over what comes with the pump. Along with the pump, of course, you will get a short hose that you can use when inflating your tires, but it isn't critical to use it. Honestly, I've just been using it by itself. If you are using the hose, you can also use two adapters that come along with it. One is for people like me that have Presta valves on their bike, which I'm still not sure what the benefit is of these valves, but that's just the way that things are now. Even if you aren't using the hose, you have a couple of modifications that you can make to the bare pump to make it work for the type of valve stem that you are going to run. The funny thing is, I was a little bit excited to use it the first time, and I didn't modify it for the Presta valve, but it still worked just fine. The other adapter that we mentioned earlier is for filling up sports balls. You also get a manual, a charging cable, and a plastic bag in case you are going to take it out into the rain. This cable was interesting to me because unlike all of the other Flextail products that we have that are USB plug on one end and USB-C on the other, this little guy is just a bit more of a rarity because it is USB-C on both ends. This isn't at all unheard of, but I think more people use the USB type of cables. The good thing is that you can of course charge it up with any other type of USB-C cable. The other interesting thing is that it just comes with this little plastic bag that I mentioned earlier, both to store all of the bits and pieces and I guess to protect the pump in bad weather. I'm so used to Flextail products coming with their nifty little drawstring bags. Luckily, I do have a couple extras of these laying around, and I'll probably end up just putting the pump into one of these types of bags because, you know, I don't want to lose all the goodies and what have you, so boom. One thing that I really do love about this pump is that it automatically shuts off when it reaches your desired PSI. So that is really cool because I'll just put it on the tire and go do something else, go put my gloves on or something like that, and I come back and it's done and turned off. And speaking of PSI, this bad boy can get your tires up to 120 PSI. I don't think many mountain bikers are going to be running that, but it can do it if you want to. Chances are if you're running 120 PSI in your tires, you are a road biker. And this pump can fill up a 700 by 25C tire to 120 PSI 2 times. If you are riding what seems like one of 1 billion e-bikes out there these days with the fat tires on it, you can expect to get about 1 3/4 of an inflation out of it. It got us all the way up to 25 PSI one time, and then it got us to 22 PSI the following inflation. As for my mountain bike that has 27-inch tires on it, I was able to get 3 full inflations up to 25 PSI, and it still had just a tiny bit left over. Definitely not enough for another full inflation, but you know, maybe you could top it off along the way. And it took about 1 minute and 20 seconds for a full inflation as well. If you are from a country that prefers to use bar as a unit of measurement, this pump can display that too. All you have to do is press down on the plus and minus sign at the same time and it will switch to bar. The pump also has a battery indicator light on it, which was a huge upgrade from the tiny bike pump. If you have 3 bars, that means you have between 70 to 100% battery. 2 bars is between 35 and 70%, and 1 bar is between 0 and 35%. Another great feature about the pump is how fast it recharges. It can recharge completely in 30 minutes. That means if you are accident prone, you can ride to your destination, charge it while you're there, and be ready for more flats on the way home. Overall, this is a neat little pump. It's the perfect blend of simplicity and sophistication, and it's going to be calling my camel back home for quite some time, hopefully, as long as I don't break it. But what do you think? Is this going to be in your shopping cart anytime soon? Let us know in the comments below. If you've stuck around to this point, I want to say thank you, you rock. And please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we hope to show you lots of really cool things in the future. Until next time, I'm Dustin. Stay safe out there.